Oh yeah, baby. My fucking sauna time. Just finished. Sit down in the light so y'all can see me. Just finished shoulder workout here. Maxed out on dumbbell press. Got 80s for one seated. Felt pretty good. Hit 75 for 5 before that. So probably could have done more of the 80s, but you know, whatever. Next time. So sweaty sauna talk here today. Gonna be talking about, I think, the only real UFO encounter, supernormal, supernatural encounter I've ever had. So I'll set the scene. 2019, April. I was with the entire 1st Ranger Battalion was out in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, doing a company live fire, which ended up being pretty badass. There's some video of it out on, I think Forward Observations group posted a lot of that live fire, which I don't know if they were allowed to, but there's footage of it out there, so I feel comfortable at least talking, mentioning it. And we went out there. It was like a week. We were staying out kind of to the west of Fort Campbell proper, like out in the boonies, out in the sticks. I just went through my phone and verified all this information so I can, accurately describe the scenario. And we were out there for about a week, and our company was the last one in the chute to do the actual live fire. So we were on support the day before, and then the day before that we were just hanging out and living in this big ass tent. And, Rangers being stir crazy, we were like, there wasn't much amenities out there at the live fire site. So we were like, you know what, let's drive into Fort Campbell and let's go, get a workout in and get some food. So that's what we did. We drove into Fort Campbell. It was getting pretty late. It was probably like 7 or 8 o'clock. We worked out on one of the base gyms. And then on the way back, we got pizza because the food there was ass. So we stopped and got fucking pizzas for the whole platoon. I think it was maybe just a van's worth, about 15 dudes worth. It ended up going to the gym. So we brought, we got a bunch of pizzas to bring back to the rest of the platoon. By the time we get the pizzas, it took about an hour for them to make 40, 50 pizzas. So we're sitting waiting. I think it was Little Caesars or something. So we sit and wait for an hour. We get our pizzas and we're on our way back, and we're all starving. And it's about 10 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock at this point. And I'll put up, if I can find it, I have this hilarious picture my buddy Joe took of me with my pizza in this van on the way back for a little bit more validity to this story. And so we're driving back, and then this is where it kind of gets, the spooky part comes in. It's about 10 o'clock. It's dark as hell. We're flying down this road. I think I was looking back on the map. I want to say that it was Angel Road, right on the border between Tennessee and Kentucky. And we're flying. It's backwoods. We're the only car on the road, and there's just woods off to our left and right. And I'm in the left side of the van, so I'm looking south. We were traveling west along Angel Road back to the live fire site. And I look through the trees, and I see what they look like parachute flares almost. I'm like, that's weird. That's not a maneuver area down there to my knowledge. And so I'm kind of watching them. And it's these 3 very, very bright, clearly not stars, lights that were equidistant apart, and they were kind of at a slight angle, slight tilt from each other, but spaced very evenly and not moving at all. So they weren't parachute flares or any kind of flares, because 1, they were way, way brighter. 2, they were way high up in the sky, and 3, they weren't moving at all. If you've seen flares, I'll try and put a video of a flare in here, a parachute flare, so you can kind of see if you don't know what I'm talking about. They weren't moving, they were stationary, and I was like, huh, that's really weird. And it's just farmland. I looked back on the map, and it's just farmland to the south of that road, and I was like, huh, those are odd. And I'm watching them, I pointed out to my buddy Joe and my buddy James, you see those lights? And they're like, yeah. I was like, dude, those things aren't moving. And they didn't really care. They didn't really care too much. But I was like, yo, that might be UFO, bro. They're like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. And I'm like watching them, and like they're still not moving. I've been watching them through the trees, you know, pretty consistently now for about a minute. Still hadn't moved. Clearly not stars. Like there's stars. I could see stars, and these were much closer and much brighter than any of the stars in the sky. And so I took a picture of them. I got an actual picture of it. It's not the greatest, but it kind of will show, and I'll clip that in here. But and then the one on the far left, and in the picture, I think it's the one that's on either the highest or the lowest, but it's the far left star or fucking UFO in the picture, shoots like straight up into the sky and disappears, like faster than a plane, like faster than anything that I've ever seen move through the sky, and it just disappears. And the other two kind of hang around, and then we go around a bend in the road, and I lose sight of them. But we got back, and I was like, man, those weren't planes. I know we're out, you know, near Fort Campbell, but like, those weren't planes. They weren't flares from another live fire going on, and they weren't stars, because I could see other stars, and they were much more dim than these three objects were. So didn't ever see him again, but you know, kind of a cool story. It was kind of spooky, because we're like, oh man, we're out here in the middle of nowhere with not really any guns or nothing, like just out in the woods. We had guns, but like all the, you know, the ammo was like kept separate and shit, like during the actual live fire site. Not that we would need to fucking shoot at these UFOs or anyways. Yeah, that's my my UFO encounter down in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. It was pretty cool. You know, I wish there was more to the story, but I mean, it's honest. That's a true story. Yeah, have a good one.